In a shocking revelation that has left defense experts, aviation enthusiasts, and even rival nations speechless, the United States Air Force has finally pulled the curtain back on what many are calling the most mysterious, unconventional, and powerful aircraft ever developed. An aircraft so secretive and advanced that insiders have dubbed it the UFO Warthog, blending the legendary durability of the A-10 Warthog with technology so cutting-edge it borders on science fiction. After decades of speculation surrounding Area 51 test flights, strange radar blips, and leaks about hypersonic experimental prototypes, the 2025 UFO aircraft Warthog appears to be real, operational, and ready to dominate the skies in ways never before imagined. Unlike anything we've seen from traditional aerospace engineering, this new platform reportedly integrates anti-gravity propulsion, plasma-based stealth technology, and next-generation electromagnetic rail systems, which give it battlefield capabilities that defy the physics of modern flight. According to inside sources at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and Lockheed Martin's Secretive Skunk Works division, this aircraft is the culmination of black-budget R&D stretching back to the Reagan-era Strategic Defense Initiative, often dubbed Star Wars. While the original A-10 Warthog is celebrated for its titanium armor, unmatched survivability, and Ju-8/A Avenger cannon capable of shredding enemy armor, the 2025 Warthog successor is designed not just for close air support, but for complete air dominance, silently gliding over hostile territory at Mach 5 speeds, while remaining invisible to radar and even infrared detection. Its rumored power source? A compact, stabilized fusion core reportedly developed under the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program (ADIP), the very same program that investigated unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, for the Pentagon. This would explain why early test flights were often mistaken for UFOs by civilians and even trained pilots. The flight characteristics are simply not of this world. Vertical takeoff and landing VTOL capabilities without jet propulsion, zero sonic booms despite hypersonic speeds, and maneuverability that defies Newtonian mechanics. Military insiders have hinted that the craft's neural interface allows pilots to control it with their thoughts, merging human reaction speed with artificial intelligence in a way that gives U.S. forces total dominance in contested airspace. In recent classified exercises over the Pacific, this aircraft allegedly outran and outmaneuvered two F-22 Raptors and an entire battalion of radar-based surface-to-air missile systems without being detected or intercepted. Its onboard systems include quantum communication encryption, enabling it to transmit secure data instantly across the globe without satellites, and its hull, made of a self-repairing metamaterial, can regenerate after sustaining projectile or laser impacts. It's essentially an aircraft that heals itself, vanishes from sight, and strikes with unstoppable power. The public unveiling, held at a restricted USAF airfield in Nevada under extremely tight security, was broadcast only to select military personnel and intelligence community leaders, though leaks from high-ranking officials have now made their way to defense circles and alternative media. One unnamed general reportedly said, "What we're seeing now is not just the future of American air power. It's a leap forward for all of mankind. The enemy won't even know what hit them. And if you think this is just about military might, think again. The implications extend into aerospace transportation, emergency response, even space exploration. Boeing, DARPA, and SpaceX are all allegedly tied into this multi-trillion-dollar program that's been decades in the making. Some engineers are calling it the beginning of the new propulsion age. The Chinese and Russian militaries are now scrambling, with recent intelligence suggesting that China's J-20 and Russia's Su-57 programs are shifting their development budgets toward advanced electromagnetic and propulsion studies, perhaps realizing that the dogfights of the future will not be fought with missiles and radar, but with physics-bending tech once reserved for science fiction. In fact, one leaked satellite image appears to show a Chinese-built replica of the aircraft at a testing facility in the Gobi Desert, meaning the race is on, and the United States is once again setting the pace. Defense Secretary remarks have hinted that this system will be deployed first in the Indo-Pacific theater, potentially as a deterrent to Chinese aggression in the Taiwan Strait, followed by deployments in Eastern Europe to reinforce NATO operations. Make no mistake, this is not a symbolic unveiling. This is a signal, a warning, A demonstration that the United States has leaped so far ahead of conventional military technology that it may now possess what some are calling next-tier deterrence, the power not just to win wars, but to stop them before they begin. And while the Department of Defense remains tight-lipped, several Pentagon analysts have already begun crafting new war game scenarios to integrate the UFO Warthog into joint strike operations. With some speculating, it could even serve as an air-launched command hub for drone swarms and satellite-directed munitions. Civilian contractors working on the project have reportedly been subjected to lifetime NDAs and advanced biometric clearance, which only reinforces the idea that this is not just another stealth aircraft. It's the beginning of a new era. Even the Air Force's recruitment campaigns are shifting focus, using cryptic phrases like "see the future" and "beyond limits" as part of their new outreach, suggesting that the service is preparing to train a new generation of pilots and aerospace tacticians who will no longer think in terms of throttle and pitch, but in vectors, energy, and real-time battlefield cognition. It is said that during a recent flyby demonstration witnessed by a small inner circle of generals, the craft performed a 90-degree turn at Mach 3 without any visible control surfaces or propulsion trails. That maneuver, which would tear conventional aircraft apart and kill any pilot on board, was executed flawlessly, possibly because the pilot was a remote AI operator connected through quantum neural uplink. This raises deeper questions about autonomy, ethics, and the evolution of warfare itself. Are we entering an age where man is no longer in the loop, but simply part of the machine? Some critics argue that we're stepping into dangerous territory, but supporters counter that American dominance must be preserved at all costs, especially in a world where rogue regimes and peer competitors are advancing rapidly. The 2025 UFO Warthog stands as both a marvel and a mystery, a fusion of battlefield legacy and alien-grade innovation, a machine that whispers to the future while roaring across the skies of today. One thing is certain: the global balance of power just tilted hard, and the United States is once again holding the high ground not just in the air, but across the dimensions of speed, stealth, and shock. In the words of one senior analyst, this aircraft isn't from the future, it is the future, and it's flying now. As international analysts scramble to understand what just happened, one thing is clear: America didn't just build a better plane, it built the weapon of tomorrow, today. And while global militaries remain stunned by the sudden appearance of what's now being casually dubbed by some insiders as the Warthog Phoenix, a hybrid beast of legacy firepower and extraterrestrial-grade technology, one must wonder just how long this breakthrough has been hidden in the shadows of black sites, underground bases, and off-the-books budgets buried deep in Pentagon appropriations. Rumors swirl that the original prototype didn't just originate from top-secret Air Force labs, but may have involved reverse-engineered materials recovered from crash sites dating back decades. Yes, even the ones the government denied existed until recently, when the 2023 UAP disclosure hearings dropped bombshells about non-human biologics and off-world vehicles. Could the 2025 UFO aircraft Warthog actually be the result of a 70-year project whose pieces were scattered from Roswell to Groom Lake and stitched together by generations of engineers working in complete isolation from the world? If that's true, then what we are seeing now isn't just military evolution. It's military revelation, the long-awaited rollout of capabilities kept under wraps because the world wasn't ready, and perhaps still isn't. But readiness or not, the cat is out of the bag, and U.S. adversaries are watching with a mixture of disbelief and desperation. Surveillance satellites from China, Russia, and Iran have reportedly picked up heat signatures and electromagnetic anomalies near several USAF bases in recent weeks. Clues that more than one of these aircraft is already operational, possibly patrolling airspace above high-tension zones like the South China Sea or the Bering Strait. These aren't just test flights. They're silent displays of force, invisible reminders to anyone with ambitions of aggression that the skies now belong to something faster, smarter, and deadlier than ever before. The UFO Warthog's classified weaponry is still a subject of heated debate, but insiders whisper about a directed energy array capable of disabling enemy aircraft mid-flight without firing a single missile, just a focused electromagnetic pulse beam delivered with surgical precision. Add to that a swarm bay loaded with autonomous microdrones equipped with jamming pods and offensive payloads. And this craft essentially becomes a flying command center of a new kind of warfare. And we're not even touching the psychological impact. Imagine you're a fighter pilot for a rival nation, flying a fifth-generation stealth aircraft, trained for years to handle any airborne threat. Then suddenly your instruments go dead, your HUD flashes static, your radar is blind, and before you can blink, a shape like nothing you've ever seen, triangular, silent, glowing slightly at the edges, zips past a hypersonic speed, and you hear nothing but radio silence. No lock-on, no trail, no signature. That's the terror this aircraft can inspire without ever engaging. Pentagon officials have already coined the term aerial ghost dominance to describe this doctrine, a total override of the enemy's perception and decision-making space, leaving them disoriented and vulnerable before the first shot is fired. The aircraft smart hull is another game changer, built from next-gen programmable matter. It can shift reflectivity and structure in real time, adapting to threat environments dynamically. One moment, it's shaped like a stealth bomber. The next, it's thin and needle-like, built for raw speed. Engineers claim it has over 20 flight configurations, each optimized for different missions. Close air support, deep strike, reconnaissance, and even electronic warfare. In a recent simulation conducted by the Air Force Research Laboratory, a single UFO Warthog eliminated an entire enemy air defense grid in under 90 seconds, penetrating layers of radar, jamming signals, and electronic countermeasures, all while feeding data back to satellite command at quantum speeds. Meanwhile, those working on the human-machine interface reveal this isn't just a leap in avionics. It's a leap in how humans interact with machines. Instead of physical control systems, the pilot is linked via cranial implants and sensor-threaded suits, allowing instantaneous command of flight dynamics, weapons, and navigation simply by thinking. One operator, who remained anonymous, described the experience as becoming the aircraft, likening it to having wings, sensors, and weapons fused directly into his awareness. It's not just flying. It's becoming a living part of a battlefield ecosystem, reacting faster than thought itself. As for defense implications, experts are now openly stating that this aircraft has redefined deterrence. Traditional models of warfare rely on measurable strength, missiles, fleets, tanks. But when one side possesses technology that can't be seen, touched, or countered, the entire geopolitical board shifts. Allies now clamor to learn more, and rumors suggest the UK, Japan, and Australia may each receive a modified export version under a new AUKUS aerospace pact. But don't expect full access. The core technologies, especially the fusion core and propulsion modules, are reportedly off-limits to even the closest allies, reserved solely for U.S. strategic advantage. It's a move that could strain diplomatic relations, but from Washington's perspective, it's necessary. As one White House official put it, this is not just another fighter jet. It's the key to controlling the next century. Perhaps that's why China has been accelerating its quantum radar and satellite laser programs, desperately trying to catch up to a ghost. Russia, meanwhile, has reportedly deployed multiple anti-satellite units and airborne jammers in response to recent U.S. overflights that left their early warning systems blind. The fact that no UFO Warthog has ever been confirmed lost, tracked, or photographed clearly in full operation only deepens the mystery. In fact, DVID's footage remains non-existent, and even internal USAF training videos are encrypted and distributed via air-gap systems known only to a handful of top-ranking officials. This level of secrecy rivals that of the Manhattan Project. Perhaps rightly so, given the scale of strategic transformation this aircraft represents. Veterans who flew the original A-10 Warthog have expressed mixed emotions. While many honor the legacy of the Hog and its life-saving role in close air support missions across Iraq and Afghanistan, they also recognize that warfare has changed. The battlefield of 2040 won't look anything like 2003, said one former pilot. And the UFO Warthog? That's our ticket to owning that future. Defense contractors and think tanks are already spinning out second-generation versions of the craft, modular, autonomous, and carrier-capable. There's talk of a space Warthog, optimized for orbital insertions and near-space combat. Meanwhile, Congress has moved quickly to expand the black budget line items related to hypersonic deterrent platforms and adaptive aerospace superiority tools, signaling that the political behind the program is both deep and long-term. If the UFO Warthog is the tip of the spear, what's behind it? What's waiting in the hangars that we still haven't seen? Some say there's already a successor in development, an aircraft so advanced it makes the current Warthog look primitive, a craft capable of transitioning from air to orbit and back in minutes. For now, the 2025 model is America's ace card, its new symbol of dominance. And while foreign powers scramble for answers, one truth has become painfully clear. And as the world reels from the unveiling of the 2025 UFO aircraft Warthog, questions rise as fast as the craft's hypersonic flight profile. Where did it really come from? How far can it go? And most terrifyingly for America's rivals, how many of them are there? Intelligence communities across the globe are working overtime, analyzing anomalies, intercepting encrypted military comms, and piecing together whatever breadcrumbs they can find, but so far, the Pentagon has held a tight lid on the operational details. What is clear is that this aircraft isn't just a step forward. It's a leap into a new age, a declaration that the rules of air superiority have been rewritten, and America holds a pen. Training programs for pilots lucky enough to operate the UFO Warthog have shifted from conventional aviation to cognitive fusion tactics, preparing airmen not just to fly, but to think like integrated systems. These pilots are no longer just warriors. They're neural network combatants, interfacing directly with real-time battlefield AI, managing sensor drones, issuing fleet-wide updates at quantum speed, and operating in a 5D battlespace where terrain, weather, threat, and timing all blur into a digital symphony of lethal precision. And this revolution doesn't stop at the cockpit. Ground crews are trained in zero-contact maintenance protocols because many components on the UFO Warthog respond only to biometric authorization, while armor plates repair microfractures autonomously using nanomaterials. Conventional air bases are being upgraded with electromagnetic launch systems and adaptive camouflage hangars just to accommodate the new jet's unique energy requirements and security protocols. At sea, U.S. Navy carriers are undergoing refits to integrate the Warthog into their flight decks, modifying elevators and storage bays to handle the aircraft's shape-shifting fuselage and high-density power cores. But perhaps the biggest shakeup is at the command level, where strategists must now write doctrine not just for dogfights or bombing runs, but for entire battles managed by a single aircraft capable of bending the edge of perception itself. In war games, the UFO Warthog has consistently outmaneuvered and outclassed every known threat, neutralizing enemy air defense networks, erasing command outposts with pinpoint kinetic and non-kinetic strikes, and disrupting naval operations without ever crossing visible airspace. This is a machine that defies detection, strikes without warning, and vanishes before retaliation is even possible. It's no wonder some foreign analysts have dubbed it the Phantom Blade. And yet, within American defense circles, the aircraft arrival has sparked a new philosophical debate. What happens when your technology is so advanced no one dares challenge you? Deterrence has always relied on balance, on the idea that for every sword there's a shield. But with the Warthog, the U.S. now holds a weapon that appears to have no counter. Diplomats quietly admit that behind closed doors, U.S. allies are both reassured and uneasy, grateful for American strength, but fearful of dependence. Could a future president wield this weapon not just in war, but as a tool of global influence? Could foreign policy become aerial policy, enforced not by treaties, but by the threat of a craft that no radar can see and no missile can reach? The implications are vast, and already foreign powers are launching their own crash programs in response. China has reportedly greenlit the development of a stealth-capable high-altitude interceptor drone with partial AI autonomy, while Russia is focusing on asymmetric countermeasures, developing low-orbit particle jammers and hypersonic decoys designed to confuse or bait systems like the Warthog. But Pentagon sources insist none of it matters. You can't fight what you can't find, one general said. You can't jam what doesn't use the spectrum you understand, and you can't shoot what's already gone. That level of confidence is both exhilarating and unsettling. The UFO Warthog's role in the near future is already evolving. There's talk of it escorting reconnaissance satellites, managing drone swarms across multiple continents, even being deployed as a rapid response unit for space-based threats. And yes, you read that right. There are now discussions happening at the highest levels of defense command about protecting U.S. interests beyond the stratosphere. In that light, the UFO Warthog may not just be the king of the skies. It could be the harbinger of the Space Force's true operational era. But until that day arrives, what we know is this. The United States Air Force has unveiled something that redefines what's possible, that breaks the boundaries of speed, stealth, and strike. It is part fighter, part ghost, part machine of legends once whispered about in the darkest corners of black-budget programs. And now it's real. Now it's flying. To America's enemies, it's a terrifying new shadow overhead. To America's allies, it's an awe-inspiring shield. And to the world, it's a sign that the sky is no longer the limit. It's the battlefield. The 2025 UFO aircraft Warthog isn't just ready for war. It is the future of war. And the future has wings. As the dust settles and the roar of the 2025 UFO aircraft Warthog fades into the distance, the world is left stunned and reeling from the sheer magnitude of what the United States Air Force has unleashed, a machine that blurs the lines between science fiction and strategic dominance, that elevates air combat into a realm of unmatched supremacy. The Warthog, codenamed Spectre-X, is not merely an aircraft. It is a culmination of decades of clandestine aerospace research, alien conspiracy whispers, black-budget funding, and technological ambition fueled by the urgency of maintaining America's global air dominance. Unlike anything the world has seen before, the Spectre-X brings together experimental propulsion systems that eliminate the sound barrier like a paper wall, anti-gravity stabilizers derived from theoretical physics models once laughed at by academia, and smart AI battle integration that processes threats, maps terrain, and identifies targets before a human pilot can even blink. In fact, to call the operator a pilot is no longer accurate. He or she is now a combat interface technician, directly connected to the aircraft's neural net, receiving high-speed sensory inputs that would overwhelm traditional avionics systems. The interior of the Warthog feels more like a Space Command module than a cockpit. Holographic 3D maps update in real time, threat indicators flash silently in the pilot's peripheral vision, and the aircraft itself adapts mid-mission, shifting configurations to suit the evolving battlefield. The Warthog's first live deployment, still officially classified but heavily rumored, sent shockwaves through military intelligence circles. Operating deep over enemy territory without triggering any known radar or satellite warning system, it engaged multiple high-value targets, disabled an entire enemy drone battalion with electromagnetic pulse arrays, and returned to base with 0 casualties and full stealth intact. Its skin is made from adaptive metamaterials that can mimic the light and radiation profile of any background, effectively rendering it invisible to both visual and infrared observation. Even its heat signature is cloaked using next-gen thermal dampeners powered by a classified cold fusion module that eliminates the need for traditional exhaust systems. The airframe design is a Delta V morphing shape, capable of adjusting in flight for low-speed loiter, high-speed sprint, or orbital climb. Yes, orbital. Leaks from within the Pentagon suggest a Warthog may be suborbital capable, able to reach the edge of space for reconnaissance, rapid global strike, or satellite disruption missions. This puts it in a class not with fighter jets, but with the very frontier of near-space warfare. Its weapon systems are equally next-generation. Laser-guided smart munitions with AI-assisted terminal homing, non-lethal electronic warfare pulses capable of shutting down entire cities' power grids, and mysterious quantum strike payload known only to a handful of top brass within DARPA. Defensive measures include energy-dispersing armor plating that neutralizes kinetic impact, a decoy swarm launcher that deploys hundreds of drone illusions to mislead missiles, and auto-retaliation routines that allow the aircraft to detect and destroy threats autonomously, even if communications are severed. Its ability to remain airborne for extended durations is enabled by a zero-emission plasma drive, giving it both stealth and strategic range that dwarf even the legendary B-2 Spirit or F-22 Raptor. And because this machine is partially autonomous, multiple Warthogs can operate in coordinated formations with AI-managed precision, executing complex strike patterns and swarm tactics that overwhelm even the most advanced enemy air defense systems. In simulated war games, a squadron of Warthogs reportedly decimated an entire carrier group, eluded a full satellite surveillance net, and completed a strike mission on a hardened underground facility without a single detection ping. Global response has ranged from disbelief to alarm. China has called an emergency meeting of its Aerospace Defense Council, launching counter-development programs like the Dragon Ghost and Dark Sky projects, rumored attempts at quantum radar and energy-based anti-aircraft defenses. Russia's GRU has ramped up covert activity across European aerospace labs, desperately trying to uncover the origin of some of the Warthog's more exotic tech, many of which they suspect, without evidence, to be reverse engineered from recovered materials, a veiled reference to years of speculation about extraterrestrial artifacts and UAP encounters. Meanwhile, NATO allies have begun lobbying for access to a limited number of Warthogs to ensure balance, but Washington has made it clear. The Warthog is sovereign, strategic, and exclusive. It is a guardian of American skies, a symbol of deterrence, and, if need be, a swift and unstoppable hand of vengeance. At home, the political and public reactions are mixed. Some hail the Warthog as a dawn of a new American era, a bold leap into military singularity where no peer or threat can challenge the U.S. again. Others raise concerns about escalation, about the ethical implications of autonomous kill systems, about the weaponization of unknown technologies not fully understood even by their creators. Think tanks argue over what this means for future treaties, for arms races, for the very definition of warfare in a world where conflict could be over before it begins. Even as congressional hearings debate the oversight of such black budget programs, there is no denying that the genie is out of the bottle. The USAF, now equipped with the spectral juggernaut, has fundamentally altered the geopolitical landscape. Allies are secure under its invisible wings. Enemies are silent, cautious, recalibrating their entire defense postures. And neutral powers watch in stunned awe as America rises once again. Not just to air dominance, but perhaps to air supremacy that may never be matched in our generation. And yet, the Warthog is still evolving. Sources inside Lockheed and Skunk Works hint at Phase 2 upgrades, including limited anti-gravity maneuvering, deep-sea operating capability for covert recovery missions, and a symbiotic interface that lets the pilot feel the aircraft as an extension of their nervous system. The jet that redefined combat may soon defy even the known laws of physics. From Area 51 to halls of the Pentagon, from icy Alaska test ranges to orbit-capable wind tunnels, this machine has been groomed in the shadows to become the most fearsome combat craft ever constructed. And now it flies. It dominates. It waits. The 2025 UFO aircraft Warthog is not the end of war. It is the transformation of it. Silent, unseen, untouchable, a ghost in the sky, and a hammer of vengeance if called upon. For the enemies of the United States, the message is simple and final. You can run, you can hide, but if the Warthog is coming, you'll never even know what hit you.